Hello everyone, this is Bidnauk. With the announcement of Super Smash Bros. 4, or Super Smash Bros. Universe as some have named it, I decided to do a statistical analysis on what changes may be seen within the roster. This will include changes to the already existing cast, removals from the cast, and a short list at the end of the video of possible newcomers. But before we begin, please note that though I am looking at this from the most outside perspective I am capable of, this is still technically an opinion based on the information I have gathered. Now that we have all that out of the way, we may now begin the Dark Ritual. Kirby, you may eat their flesh. So in a process of keeping everything orderly, characters will be organized by the appearance upon which they join the series. Now that stated, let us start with the original 12. So as you can tell by this list, the original 12 are being divided into two categories: characters who are most likely to stay exactly the same as they already are, and characters that are likely to change in some way, shape, or form due to recent games that have been released for them. Such as the biggest change we'll notice from Mario would be the lack of FLUDD. Super Mario Sunshine had a huge influence in Brawl, but since then, both Mario Galaxy games have come out, the new Super Mario Bros., and the 3DS Mario games. So FLUDD would be removed in favor of a signature move representing one of those games. Now, in Link's case, the main change would be aesthetically. Skyward Sword came out this year, so the Link to appear in the next Super Smash Bros. Would be the Skyward Sword Link, just as Twilight Princess Link appeared in Brawl. Now, the only question is what will happen to his boomerang, because obviously Skyward Sword Link never used a boomerang, though that's something I don't actually have the answer for. Now, in Donkey Kong's case, the main change is purely positive, which would be he would get a new Final Smash. In Brawl, he had the Jungle Beat Final Smash. However, in Donkey Kong Country Returns, he has plenty more moves, and I'm pretty sure they would take a Final Smash from that. Personally, I would really love it if he punched the moon down onto the stage, because that would just be kinda awesome. Now, Samus would be more like Link, as in it would be more aesthetical. Her armor will be redeveloped so it looks similar to that of Metroid Other M. However, I have also heard rumors that she is apparently getting more combos to her A attacks. Please note, all the changes currently mentioned for Luigi are mostly rumors, and probably might not even happen. So, to give more support to the Luigi's Mansion series, where the next Super Smash Bros. May take FLUDD away from Mario, it will give Luigi his vacuum, as a result changing his moveset. Now, for Pikachu, the main change would be his Final Smash. In Brawl, it was Volt Tackle, which at the time Pokemon the anime series was in the 4th generation, which Pikachu used Volt Tackle as his strongest attack. Since then, the 5th generation anime has started, and Pikachu has traded Volt Tackle for Electro Ball. So it is to presume that his new Final Smash would be Electro Ball to keep in pattern with the anime. Now, Kirby, Yoshi, Fox, Captain Falcon, Ness, and Jigglypuff aren't expected to change at all for the next Super Smash Bros. And for the fact that they're all part of the original 12, I expect that they will stay in the game. Now, to continue on, we will now be moving into characters that were included during Melee. Also, please note that any characters that were removed from Melee's change to Brawl will not be included, as I do not expect them to return to the series. So, just like the original 12, I've separated everybody into lists. Those who might change in the upcoming Super Smash Bros., those who are likely to stay the same, and now those who might leave the series. Now, the reason I believe Falco will change is because I know Sakurai wants to get rid of all clone characters, but people like Falco, so chances are they will try to change his moveset so that way he can stay in the game without being a clone, and this also means he probably will never have a Landmaster again. So next, we're going to combine two categories, so this way we can talk about Zelda and Sheik. Now, the reason I believe Zelda will be reworked is because of Skyward Sword, a brand new Zelda. This is also why I believe Sheik will not reappear, is because there is no Sheik in Skyward Sword. I mean, they could do what they did with the Twilight Princess Zelda in Brawl and give a Twilight Princess Sheik, but I'm really not seeing it happening. Also, this new Zelda can hold herself pretty well. As for Sheik, the reason why I think the character will be removed is continued later on at the end of the video in my wish list. Also, Sheik is a man. Now, the reason I believe Ganondorf will not appear in the next installment of Super Smash Bros. Is again Skyward Sword. In both Melee and Brawl, he fights a Link and a Zelda from a game incarnation that he is a part of. However, in the next installment of Smash Bros., fight a Link and a Zelda from Skyward Sword, which he was never part of. So it makes no sense for him to be in the next installment. Also, it is currently rumored that either Girahim or Demise will appear, since they are the antagonists of Skyward Sword. Now, me personally, I do not believe that Ganondorf is completely removed from the Smash series. I believe he is removed from this one installment because it makes no sense for him to appear, since he does not appear in the game that is being represented for the Legend of Zelda series. Phew! Okay, and with the remaining 5 characters of Melee, we are to assume that nothing will really change with the way their movesets are currently working. Now, for those of you who have not left in hateful rage due to my opinion, let's move on to Brawl. And so we arrive at our list. But before we begin, I would like everyone to know that this list is categorized very roughly. That is because all of these characters are so new to the Smash series, it is difficult to pinpoint whether they need tweaking or not. So I will go through all of them with you, at least minimally, to explain why I think they are in the list they are in. But for all intents and purposes, please bear with me during this section. So we're starting off with Zero Suit Samus. Now, as most of us can agree, she is a very good addition as an alternate costume to Samus. But also, as most of us can agree to, her moveset doesn't entirely work properly. Just some of her moves don't have a smooth feel to them, and it makes it a little bit annoying to play as her. In fact, you have to be either really good or just really lucky to even have successful playthroughs with her. So as a result to this, I think she just needs her moves a bit tweaked, so that way she has a more concrete moveset that people can agree with. Now, the thing about Lucas is he's actually in 2 categories. He's in the category of needing to be tweaked, but he's also technically should be in the category of characters who might leave, because he is a clone character. He's very much a clone of Ness, though he has little things to point out that he is different. So he will either leave the series, or Sakurai will focus on all these things that make him different and remove the things that are similar from S, and then he will stay in the series. So right now he's just kind of balancing on, do I stay or do I go kind of thing. Well, we'll see what happens to him. King Dedede is in an awkward position, because his moveset doesn't really need to be changed. But then again, he's not really interesting enough to stay either. So I don't really know what to suggest for this character. I mean, there's no real way to change his moveset that makes him a must-have, and we can't change his personality, so we all want him. So it's completely up to Sakurai at this point, so we're all just going to have to wait and see. Pit is going to stay. People like him, the company likes him. The only thing is he might get a moveset adjustment to add in some of the factors from Kid Icarus Uprising. Ike is a very loved character, and a very good symbol of Fire Emblem. He has no reason to be changed, though he may be removed from the next installment of Super Smash Bros., but I'll go into that later. Now, I'm sure someone can think of some way to adjust the moveset of Olimar, but it's safe to say with the arrival of Pikmin 3 soon, he's not going anywhere. Rob is to Brawl what Mr. Game & Watch is to Melee. He is a classic character, and Sakurai wants more of them in the next installment of Super Smash Bros. So I'm pretty sure he's not going to leave, and I feel very confident that his moveset doesn't need any changing. Meta Knight, the character who invented the God tier. Literally, people would go on murderous rampages if he was removed from the game, so I'm pretty sure he's gonna stay. Personally, I would like Wario removed, but I'm trying to keep my opinion out of this as much as possible. Wario does work very well. His moves could maybe use a little tweaking, and his final smash could probably be set back to when it was this massive fart that covered the entire field, instead of turning him into some awkward superhero. But other than that, I think he's going to stay perfectly where he is. So, I'm pretty sure Diddy Kong's going to be removed. I mean, yes, he does have an interesting moveset. Yes, he does add another Donkey Kong member to the roster, but he's just not that interesting. And Sakurai intends to get rid of some characters for the next Super Smash Bros., so I don't see any real positives in keeping him. So out of every game in Smash Bros., Star Fox has the most clone characters, and they're already working hard to change Falco, and I don't think they can successfully change all 3 of Star Fox, Falco, and Star Wolf's movesets to all be completely different. So I'm assuming that Star Wolf will leave the roster, just so that way Fox and Falco can continue to both be very strong characters. So the Pokemon Trainer was included as a way to get 3 extra characters into Brawl. And I guess it did kind of work. We like him, but the fact of the matter is it's not a character that can continue for a long amount of time. So I'm pretty sure it would be removed, whether it's to make way for another Pokemon trainer-styled character, or just because it can't really be done anymore. And on a side note, this is Red, not Ash. Red can kick Ash's ass any day of the week. Now, Lucario has no reason to be removed from Smash Bros., except for the fact that in Brawl, he is the Generation 4 representative. And as such, most people believe that he will be removed in the next Super Smash Bros. For Zoroark, who is the Generation 5 representative, and also has a very similar build and moveset. And now we get to the 3 characters in the list who will go and not just might go. To start us off, we have Toon Link. And the reason he would leave is because he is an absolute clone character. He is literally Link, just a different Link from the timeline. So he has the exact same moveset, and there is no way to make him different enough to keep him. Now, I'm gonna do Sonic and Snake at the same time, because they both have the same reason on why they're going. They are third-party characters, and Sakurai does not want to have a bunch of third-party characters fill up on the roster, because he wants it to be focused on Nintendo characters. So these 2 will go, and the next Super Smash Bros. Will have 2 to 3 new third-party characters. And for the last segment in this video, we will discuss possible newcomers. For this section, I will pick 5 characters that I feel have a chance to actually make it into the next Super Smash Bros., as well as 2 third-party characters that I believe have a chance of making it into the next Super Smash Bros. So let's begin. To start us off, we have Medusa. Now, Medusa is a character that most fans do not immediately think of when they think of new additions to the roster. However, when Brawl's roster was being decided, Medusa was actually on the plausible list before Pit was even considered for the game. So I think she should appear in the next Super Smash Bros. For the fact that she would be a good character, she would be very unique, and she would be a new villain to the series that most of Smash Bros. Is lacking on villains. We all need to admit that. Now, considering Star Fox's issues with clone characters, Crystal seems like a very good choice. She fights with a staff, which means she can't have the same moveset as the current characters in the series. So, all in all, if Star Fox needs new members for the roster, she is a very good character to lean towards. Now, remember when I said that I would get to Sheik later on in the video? Well, this is then. So, I think Impa from Skyward Sword would be a great addition to the roster, because Legend of Zelda is already technically losing 1 to 2 characters from the roster. And if we give Zelda her basic mage-styled combat, Impa completely takes that Sheik-styled combat and then maximizes it to the full level. So it would almost be making like Sheik its own character and not just half of a character. So I really think it would be a good person to consider for the roster. So I know some of you are wondering who it is you're looking at right now. This is Chrome. And yes, I'm pronouncing it Chrome, because the other way to pronounce it sounds really stupid. Anyway, he is the protagonist of the newest Fire Emblem game, Fire Emblem Awakening. And I'm pretty sure, because Smash Bros. Likes putting Fire Emblem protagonists into Super Smash Bros. Before they actually appear in their games, that he will be in the next Super Smash Bros. However, this is also why I mentioned Ike earlier, because like how Ike replaced Roy, because Ike was the newer protagonist, I'm pretty sure Chrome will replace Ike. Now, I know some of you are wondering, well, why replace Ike and not Marth? Because Marth is the original Fire Emblem protagonist, so he will never be removed from the series. Also, I think Marth makes a special cameo in this particular game, but that's beside the point. Chrome will make an excellent addition to the next Super Smash Bros. As a Fire Emblem swordsman. Now, for the final of the 5, we have Ridley. Now, everyone in the Super Smash Bros. Team have been trying to get Ridley to be a playable character since Melee. They've just had so many issues with his body. Now, in Brawl, he appeared as a boss. However, for the next Super Smash Bros., I think they have finally found the way to do it. And I know some of you are wondering, well, he's still too freaking big. What they're going to probably do is use this Ridley from Mission 0, because in that one he is actually roughly as tall as a normal person. So it would actually still have all of Ridley, would have some new movesets, and he would be completely playable and fit in size with everybody. It would work great. And now for the 2 characters that are third-party representatives. First up, Geno, from Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars, and representing the third-party Square Enix. Now, I know that Nintendo has been pushing to get Geno since Brawl, since they decided they wanted third-party characters. But Square Enix has been fighting it because for some reason they just don't want to let him go. But I hear they keep pushing, and maybe Square might finally say, fine, take it. But I'm hopeful that Geno will make it into this next Super Smash Bros. Now, where Geno is a lot of hopeful wishing, Lloyd Irving from the Tales of Symphonia series actually has some proof to back up his spot here. Because Namco Bandai is helping Nintendo make the next Super Smash Bros. Game, they were asked if they would like to have one of their characters be a third party, and they immediately said they would want a character from the Tales games. In response, by Nintendo, stated that they would only take a Tales character that was on a Nintendo game system. Lloyd Irving from Tales of Symphonia is the most famous out of all of the ones that have made it on to Nintendo systems, being the fact that Tales of Symphonia made it onto the GameCube, and there are a couple other Tales games that are going to the 3DS. And with that note, this video is at an end. I thank all of you who sat through all of it, and I do apologize. I know some moments are a little scratchy or bumpy. I don't have the best system to work with, but thank you very much for watching my video, and I hope you enjoyed it.